Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys how I scored my first job at the age of 16. So if you're watching this video, you might be 16, 17, 18, 19, or any age. Regardless of what age you are, you might want some tips and tricks on how to apply to your first job. It could be fast food, retail, or any of the above. But if you're interested in finding out, keep watching for me to share my tips and tricks that I used scoring my first job. The first time I applied for a job, I was 15 years old and I went to the McDonald's in my hometown. My mom dropped me there and I went and did my interview. I did a fantastic job. They told me I did a great job and that I'm hired until they found out about my age. I told them I was 15 and they said, unfortunately, we cannot hire you. I was dumb enough to not have looked at the age restriction for applying for a job in my province before, and so that caused an issue for me. That brings me to tip number one. Make sure you research your province's restrictions, rules, age limits, and all of the above just to know exactly how old you have to be to apply for a job. Places can vary, but in general, it's pretty upfront. Do a quick, simple Google search. You can find out exactly how old you have to be to get a minimum wage job. In Ontario, for example, where I live, it was 16 years old, and at the time I was 15 years old, so they just couldn't lawfully hire me, even though she loved my interview and I did a great job. It just wasn't possible. When I finally turned 16 years old, I started looking for jobs. I applied on Indeed, I applied online on different websites, and I applied to at least over 100 jobs. The problem was I was getting no reply. I came to the conclusion was, for me personally, a trick that worked is going in person and applying. I went into different branches, I asked to speak with the manager, I introduced myself, and I gave them my resume. This tactic seemed to work pretty well because when I did that at Little Caesars, which was my first job, she actually interviewed me on the spot and she hired me, which was great. Online, they just look at all these resumes, I feel like, and they don't really consider all of them. And I feel like in person, it's just making more of a personal connection with the management, with the company itself. That's a great way, regardless of what you're doing, is just to go in person and try to apply for the job. I was anxious to apply in person and I didn't know if I could do that. I was just scared to go in, but sometimes you can't let your anxiety control you. You have to be upfront with yourself. You have to walk into the store and you have to introduce yourself. Employers love to see someone outgoing, someone who puts themselves out there. So obviously they would favor you over somebody who might have applied online. Moving on to my second job, I applied to Harvey's at the age of 17. Went and used the same tactic of going in person, talking to the manager. At the time, I was looking for something more on the front of the house, but they said that they only had the back of the house available. And so it was a bit of a letdown for me, but I decided to settle. The worst thing I've ever done. I was only 17 and it was quite frustrating to say the very least. And so by the end of the day, I quit that job and I never went back. And what I learned from this was that you should never settle. Make sure you know the details about the job. You ask questions. You don't just go for the money. It's very important to know what you're getting yourself into. Because for example, that job I did at the back of the house, it just was not it. I'm sorry. Next, I want to talk about resumes. So you might have heard a lot about resumes from your older sister, maybe from school, and you might think, what's the big deal? I'm just going to put down my information, I'm going to give it to them. For me personally, if I was hiring, I would hire someone with an organized and well-looking resume. This is important because it's your first impression you're going to be giving them. You want to see something that's appealing to their eye. And you just want to make sure that your resume is formatted right, it's using all the proper fonts, and just visually appealing to the eye. What I used that I found was quite helpful was a resume builder online. A lot of websites just do all the work for you. Some of them charge a small fee. If you're willing to or can afford that, you can do that. But there's also plenty of free websites you can use. And so if anyone's interested, let me know and I can link that in the comments down below. Put a little bit of effort in and make your first impression a good one. Next, I'd like to talk about fashion. I was always fairly fashionable. Even for my McDonald's interview, I put on a dress shirt, I had a button up, some dress shoes, and I just went in there and they were surprised that I was like so well dressed for my age. You might think that it doesn't matter if it's a job as simple as McDonald's or Harvey's, but it's always important to give a good first impression, whether that be through your resume or even how you look appearance-wise. Pretty privilege is definitely a thing. Dress well, make sure that you dress formally. Let me know in the comments if you want another video. I can give you guys some outfit ideas for interviews or anything of that sort. Last tip I have for you guys is just to get a job. You might think, what the hell, like I'd rather just stay at home, do nothing all day. It's important to gain experience. These jobs I've worked, whether that be Little Caesars, Harvey's, I've worked a lot of part-time jobs in retail, fast food. All of these jobs have gained me experience. It's gained me skills, practical skills. The pay might not be exactly what you're expecting. It's very important to gain that experience for your future, in your careers, and just to have something to do in your free time. A lot of times I was sitting at home and I didn't have a job, I was depressed. When I had a job, I had something to do. I had benefits, I had friends I made, and so With this video, the main lesson is just to use these tips and tricks, follow them, apply them, and look for a job. You're 14, 15, 16, your parents are telling you to get a job, they're probably right. And I hate to break it to you, but it's better than sitting at home all day because you're going to be doing something that'll benefit you in the long run. That's the main point I'm just trying to make in this video today, is just to follow these tips and just try your best. And if you fail, that's okay. Try again. Let me know if you guys have any questions or you want to share your own personal experiences down in the comments. And just make sure to leave me a like and subscribe for further more lifestyle tips, videos, and just anything else you guys are interested in. Thanks for watching.